What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. The prices this October are getting spooky with some of these buyouts on Skull Servants. So we got a new barbecuing King of the Skull Servants out coming in Blazing Vortex that has a pretty darn good effect for the entire deck. And White Prince is a short print out of Duelist Alliance, if I recall. And with that, he's always been around the $1.50-ish or $1 and creeped up over time. You see from actual sales now, his market price is $2, quote unquote, and the lowest listings are at $4.50 and $5. I think you will see quantities returning to the market and maybe a respike as we head towards the actual support, but I think most Skull Servant players have skeletons in their closet, literally, with these. I don't think they were selling these. This price jump may motivate them, but is unlikely, and a lot of people over time would have already fully hollowed out their decks that love this archetype. Legendary Collection 3 Yugi's World Skull Servant, last time I remember this being 5 or 6. We see it gets a major buyout and no motivated sellers now with very few listings if you're wanting to hollow this out. I did find one first edition Skull Servant at like $2.49 from a low rated seller at near mint, and then the next are all the way back on like page 19. So yeah, they're quite expensive for first editions, and they have been for some time. I recall these being $7 to $8 if you were picking bulk before, and now you see the lowest copies around 10 and quickly go up with quite a few extras though. It is a fan favorite in terms of like, it's just been iconic for Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're a hardcore fan, not more so a casual fan that just follows the anime. I also see King of the Skull Servants, its tournament pack version, getting bought out here, not that it had many copies in the first place. And let's check in on those super rares from Speed Duels as well. I said this was a pretty good buy a while back, and it still is sticking around 6, but does quickly go up towards 10 here on the first page. So this entire archetype getting some hype, huge fan favorite, people throwing money at it. Again, I think most fans would never have sold this deck. It's one of those ones they keep for a long term. I do want to point out Ultra White Mares are still very, very cheap and bulkish. It could get hype right now and then also get rehyped as we approach and head towards that dollar range, as it's locked behind a $30 MSRP box in Dual Overload, and its only other printing is in Star Strike Blast. So this is a penny stonk I've said to have before, and it's looking good here again as you continue to get that sprinkle of support here and there. I do want to note October has had some ridiculous buyouts before. Hollow going from $1 for the Ultras back to $3 and $5 just because it was Halloween, not because it was actually getting hyped in the format or as a tech. So this is not the same example as that. This is more so these spooky cards actually got support that is exciting for their fan base, but also people know there is an eccentric fan base and are buying up their own pieces either because they reminisce about it or because they plan to sell it later. So don't go into the most max hype prices. Take your time getting what you want. I think it'll cool off before it reheats up, as Blazing Vortex is pretty far away. I wanted to give a friendly reminder that Tier 0 is having their sale, as well as YBM. Tier 0, code What's Good 5 is 10% off until the end of tonight, midnight central. I believe that cuts off, and I'm surprised to still see this in stock, although I guess maybe Jim's accessories now, not playmats, Jim accessories, their new deck boxes are actually selling on the secondary market for ridiculous passes, where this used to have no problem selling for like 100 to 120 in Facebook groups. So I am surprised to see the legit DMG double deck boxes sitting here. And then this is 15% off everything. Just add it to your cart. It will auto apply. What's Good 5 does not stack on top of there. I'm sorry. But whenever you're shopping either place, it does support the channel directly during this weekend, using a code or not using a code. And I would be looking at Gold Series a bit because we have a huge spoiler coming. So I covered the leaks a long time ago, and they're starting to pan out to look very, very real, as Nim Nim spoiled today. It's not a gold rare, but it's a gold actual rare of Barrier Statues of the Storm Wind. You can see it's not stroked in gold inside of its picture, but this is an official reveal from Konami through Nim Nim. So when we're looking at this, these are one of the check boxes of, okay, if these are in here, it's starting to look very, very real with the barrier statues. And you have a ton of other huge cards in here. I don't think the ban list was very indicative. I don't think when it comes to, like, the Blue Eyes or Dark Magician, that was actually telling for the set either, because I'm scrambling here on my desk. They have, these were the selling points, including Red Eyes, of the original Gold Series. So those reveals didn't raise my eyebrow too much. They were just like, alright, checklist. And there were other odd-off things like Called by the Grave, which got hit in both the OCG and TCG. But when you get into the more odd-off confirmations, and nothing has been deconfirmed yet, it's starting to get pretty exciting now. Is it 69 cards out of a huge set that is much bigger, and all the reveals have been through here? I would start to consider what you want to do with your higher price cards that are looking to be on this list. And a lot of people kept saying, oh, the original 3 reveals aren't even on this list, fake list. I had explained when I listed this that, hey, the original source included them, and it's Carlancho's store and other people who made the glams that discluded them from that original source. So, looking through here, do keep that in mind, that this is starting to look like it has a lot more credibility, and even from a skeptic like myself who's seen, like, this was released the day Battles of Legends reveals happened, if I recall, which was odd in itself, but there were fake Battles of Legend reveals that had Magician Souls and other things that didn't pan out, and I was like, take it with a grain of salt, a bucket of salt, whatever amount of salt, but here it is, and Carlancho's store is a very reliable source. Looks like Carlancho's store staying a very reliable source so far, and I'm starting to buy into this Kool-Aid that these are real more as well. Fire Formation Tenki Ultimate Rare has been rebought out. I believe these were available around 110s, and now 160 is the lowest, but there are a ton of people lined up here. I don't know when it respiked to 160 like this, but these sellers are not undercutting each other. They're playing a very favorable game with each other, just moving penny by penny. It's so freaking petty. But no motivated sellers on this as I stumble through my frustration. This card has been sought after for a long time. It's been bound to go up. If you got these at 60s, congratulations. Will it go up further as we head towards Tri-Brigade's release next month? With that many sellers, I don't think it's going to get a rebuy out at this price anytime soon. But maybe this is a $200 card one day, because people go after it in playsets, and it is iconic. Thunder Dragon Fusion got bought out. Not for Thunder Dragons, but for Prank Kids. People were freaking out over this price hike too. It's not the biggest price hike, but it is notable considering it has a mega pack printing, and then also its original ultra rare. Obviously, between these prices, I'd still be grabbing the ultra rare if I can get them around $2. Let's see where they're at. Ooh, they're up towards 5 to 6s, so those are going on it too. If you have them, I might still consider selling them. Prank Kids will be a very, very good deck. I don't know about one of the, like, top 5 decks just because of Prank Kids Meow Meow, and it is a very high skill ceiling to play this deck and be dedicated to it and not cheat, because you get locked into Prank Kids a lot. But Thunder Dragon Fusion is an interesting buyout for sure. Let's see where these super rares actually are. Clicking on them, yeah, they are still available around the $1 mark, so you're not missing out. You still get a holo version of that. Monster Born Lost Art promotion. I've had several people and even my Discord wondering, hey, when did this happen? I covered this when Dark Magician Girl had its original buyouts and price spikes that people finally went after Monster Reborn. I gave reminders that, hey, there's so many more Monster Reborns because they were meant to last OTS shops a whole month rather than 2 weeks like Dark Magician Girl. But when looking through this, the Lost Arts are still around 54, 55 and have kind of stabilized above that $50 mark. It's surprising that it's actually just stuck to that dartboard after the buyout and people are not undercutting each other on it. And Dark Magician Girl is also recovering. We saw her under $50 before, around 46, 48, and now she's kind of stabilizing 51 before she's 55. This is a motivated seller, and then quickly back towards 60. So it looks like Dark Magician Girl is becoming stonks once again, starting to heat up a little after it had cooled off so much. Interested deep pockets may be the reason, or people just want to continue, as I said, completing their pages of this or getting this because they think it's a great investment, that sort of thing. So her ceiling seems to be rebounding once again. But I think it's actually more impressive that Monster Reborn is sticking to that dartboard, like I said. And finally, Barbaroid has a buyout. I didn't think I'd say that in 2020, but you can send Cyber Nova to the graveyard whenever your opponents are playing Dog Pragmatica, and then bring out this big bad boy at 4,000, and he can break through fields and do impressive stuff. I still think you should be summoning Makaba, or like having a negate or something like that, but this is a big boy that can be summoned off of Cybernova when sent to the graveyard. You see it has other listings that aren't the highest in quantities for commons because it's only been reprinted in a single star pack. So people getting jump promos and magazine promos and stuff like this isn't the easiest thing to get, so I see why people would have gone for it and bought it out. And you see that the lowest is $15 with somebody having quite a few. Adam Korn. Okay, so Adam often is on top of these buyouts. This is what I mean, actually. A quick lesson here at the end. Why doing the buyout is not as favorable as just slowly getting copies over time of a card you think is good, which I think is probably what Adam Overdose Gaming here is doing. He has 13 copies at 15 ready on the helm. He has them in his back stock, whereas whoever bought this out is now getting beat out by him on actual sales if his start moving, right? So when you look at this, the person buying them out is still waiting for them in the mail. And people are going to start undercutting each other, even though it's not the most high volume, high quantity, high demand card. So sales rates are also going to be poor. If anybody capitalizes here, it's Adam, not the person who bought it out. That's why you see multiple buyouts on certain cards. People are invested and they go in further, and now they have the quantities in. But on an initial buyout, it can be a very poor move if you don't calculate it correctly versus its price point. Thank you so much for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. What do you guys think of the gold rares? I really do want to know. Do you think this list is real now, or do you think there's just not enough confirmation? This is more one of the eyebrow raisers to me that was on my checklist of, if this is in here, yeah, this might be it. And I'm starting to think more and more it lines up now. We'll see if the big golden boy's in here. We'll see if the dragon maids are in here. We'll see if Imperm's in here. But the barrier statue is actually huge. Why have we not got the huge reveals yet, though? As we approach the release date, we have seen major sets get last minute hype from stuff like Ash Blossom in them, when Ash Blossom was huge. I'm starting to buy the Kool-Aid, though, on this one, for real.